Hello and welcome to the Delivery Podcast. I'm your host, John the Mailman Keppen, and today's topic is going to be shopping malls. I haven't been to a shopping mall in a very long time. I'd say probably like 4 to 5 years. But when I did go, it was always to Christmas shop. I would never really buy anything when I was Christmas shopping. I've only bought anything from the mall like 3 times. But usually I would just browse, look around, and then find a cheaper version at like a Walmart or something. One thing I remember from malls is this place called Spencer's. The mall that I usually went to had this place called Spencer's in it. It's this like kind of adult store. They got like a bunch of band t-shirts and stuff. It's kind of like a very, very dirty Hot Topic. And I say dirty because there was a lot of sex toys inside, like an unfathomable amount. But I remember I did buy a lava lamp one time there, so I guess I have a good experience with Spencer's, despite all this stuff I saw at a very young age, just walking in the back section of the store. I mean, it was crazy. But one thing I do remember specifically from the store wasn't all the gross stuff. It was the Chucky doll, actually. There was this Chucky doll that would sit on the top like rack right by the sex toys. But the Chucky doll scared the shit out of me. I remember I used to refuse to watch horror movies for a very long time just because of that Chucky doll. And I think it's because there were like 7 of them on the shelves. But it was always like in stock. But there were multiple Chucky dolls, and I just knew, like, I kind of heard of the plot of the horror movie from like my friends in elementary school. But actually seeing one in real life, I thought it was just fake. I didn't know they actually made toys of it, so I was convinced it was real. So you bet your ass I was ready to throw hands. I mean, every time I would go into that store, I was always staring up at the Chucky doll, ready for him to jump down with like a knife in his hand, ready to fight me. I was ready to like protect my family if it came to it. So yeah, Spencer's probably wasn't the best place to go as a young kid. But you know what? It was definitely interesting, and it was definitely an experience. And that lava lamp was worth all the trauma from the Chucky doll. This next store I really hated. The name of the store was Bath and Body Works. Very popular. They sell like candles and body wash and just like hygiene stuff. It was obviously boring to a kid, but it was even more boring when you spend 2 hours there shopping. I mean, spending 2 hours in a Bath and Body Works as a kid was torture. I mean, I'd rather be waterboarded at that age than be put in a Bath and Body Works. I mean, I must have smelled every candle and shampoo in that store 80 times over. Oh my god, it was terrible. But you know what? Once I left that store, it was a huge relief, because that meant I could do all the fun stuff at the mall. The stuff that I'm going to talk about next. But you know what? Bath and Body Works can suck my balls. Something I never got to do at the mall, but always lustfully gazed upon, was this animal scooter. You might have seen them, but they're kind of like a recent thing. They're these like little electric scooters that you sit on, and they're like animal shaped. So they're like giraffes or like unicorns or lions or something. But you could cruise around the mall with them. You just had to rent them out from like a stand. It probably wasn't the best business idea though, because of how many kids would crash. I mean, every hour there was at least one pile up of a bunch of 4-year-olds falling on the ground in their animal scooters, usually crying and making a scene. But that was very inviting to me as a kid. I always wanted to do that. I mean, I was probably too old for them when they came out, so that's probably why I never did it. But I mean, it's so cool to me. It was so cool to me. So here's an even better business idea for you listeners out here. All right, here, ready for this? Cars shaped like animals. Hear me out, right? You have Ford production factories pumping out these hippo-shaped Lamborghinis or something, V8s. They're all like zooming across the highway. Got like 1 horsepower for the horse ones, obviously. But man, that would be cool.
I mean, imagine how cool it would be to be able to, like, drive an animal. Like, instead of a real animal, you actually get to drive, like, a motorized one. That's awesome. They get to go way faster. Plus, imagine getting pulled over. How funny would that be? You have to, like, crank down your rhino's eyeball to be able to see the police officer.
And it'll also probably limit the number of DUIs, because, I mean, who's going to operate a monkey under the influence? I mean, no one. You're going to be too busy laughing. You're just going to fall asleep on the sidewalk because no one's going to drive a monkey drunk. Are you insane?
So yeah, there's my business idea. I'm scheduled for Shark Tank next week, so I can't wait for all of you to see me live. And I am requesting $4.8 million for my investment. 25% of the company. You know what? I think I'm about done. This podcast was pretty boring. I apologize for that. It's kind of difficult talking to a microphone in your room all by yourself because you don't really have good material to go off of. I mean, I was just saying all this off my head. I didn't write one thing down except for the word mall in my notes. But that didn't really help that much. Thank you to all the people who peer pressured me into making this podcast. And you know what? I'm kind of glad I did it now. Got it over with. I'll probably make a new one next week. But for that new podcast, let me know if you have any ideas, anything you want me to put in it. Go ahead and feel free to comment that down below. But thank you for listening to my first episode of the Delivery Podcast. I'm your host, John the Mailman Keppen. Bye-bye.